Welcome one, welcome all. Here we are with part 3 of what I consider to be some of the best remasters available on the PlayStation 4. And we're going to kick off with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This has still got, in my opinion, the greatest Call of Duty campaign ever made. It is phenomenal, and not just because of the awesome sniper mission. You've probably played it already, but as Call of Duty games tend to do, it's dropped right down in price now it's not the latest release, so you can pick this up for an absolute song and is worth getting purely for the campaign. Yes, it's only about 6 hours long, but it's 6 hours incredibly well spent. Next up we have Tomb Raider, often referred to as Tomb Raider 2013 to differentiate it from the mid-90s hit. This actually was released in 2014 as a remaster, approximately 10 months after the initial release on the 7th gen. Now, I know among Tomb Raider fans this game can be seen as a bit controversial. I think it's a bit like Marmite, you either love it or hate it. There's no denying they definitely stepped away from the traditional Tomb Raider formula a bit. I personally think the game gets a bad rap. I did make an individual video just about this game actually, explaining why I like it so much. I'll leave a link on the end screen if you want to check it out. But one thing you cannot deny is that it looks absolutely superb. This remaster was actually released quite early in the PlayStation 4 lifespan really, probably one of the earliest on this list. But it looks even better than it did on the 7th gen, and it was no slouch there. And yeah, this game is worth playing for any Tomb Raider fan, in my humble opinion. Let me know if you like it or hate it in the comments. Now it's time for a proper bit of blast from the past nostalgia. Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. The Tony Hawk's Pro Skateboarding series was all over the PlayStation 1. It was a humongous hit, and I dare say got many teenagers into skateboarding who would have otherwise ignored it and not broken their arms. Or is that just me? This time you can revisit Tony's arguably greatest hits with such a level of polish it is absolutely shining. Whether you're brand new to the series or you want to relive the nostalgia on a modern console, I strongly recommend these games. You can put hours and hours into them without even meaning to, just trying to perfect that ollie and backspin and all the other skateboarding moves which I don't know the name of. And given that the average age of the gamer who played the original Tony Hawk's games is mid to late 30s now, it's probably safer to play it on console than real life. Just a thought. Like a good decision. A good day wasted. The next game is definitely a bit darker than Tony Hawk's. This is one of the greatest hack and slash games you're ever likely to play. God of War 3 Remastered. It was originally released in 2010, the 5th instalment in the God of War series, and it was the second best-selling in the series. And actually it was the 9th best-selling PS3 game of all time. This 2015 remaster makes it look absolutely better than ever. Now, I know the more recent God of War games with a soft reboot of style to the series are absolutely fantastic. I love them too. But sometimes you just want to go back to bad guy Kratos, where he's just that bit rougher, that bit meaner, and the action is non-stop furious. Especially, as you can see on screen, against some of the gigantic bosses. Can Kratos defeat them? Well, yes, of course he can, we all know that by now. If for some reason you haven't played this game, I strongly encourage you to pick it up, and if you have, play the remaster. It's awesome. Sticking with hack and slash, let's go with Darksiders 2. Originally released in 2012 with a $50 million budget, it was one of the most expensive games to be developed at the time. I like all the Darksiders games, but I've got to say this is by far and away my absolute favourite of the four. You are Death. You're gonna get revenge and clear the name of your brother, War. And you're not alone. You have your trusty steed, Despair, to get you around a large open-zoned map, which is a really good size actually. You also have a Raven as a guide. It all keeps within the theme, and the combat is a joy to behold, especially when you discover new weapons, new techniques and things like that. But of course, there's more than just hacking, slashing, slicing and poking. There are also environmental puzzles which you will need to solve to progress through the game, get through select portals, doors, things like that. You'll need individual powers to pass through certain points. How do you get them? Well, I'll let you find that out for yourself. This is actually a surprisingly deep game. It's much more than I expected it to be. It's the first game I played in the series, and I was hooked. I absolutely love it. And I hope you will too. This is one of those games which isn't talked about that much anymore, so let me know in the comments. Have you played it? Do you like it? I'm always interested to hear. Who fancies two for the price of one? Okay, let's have Batman Return to Arkham, the collection. This remaster of two of the 7th gen's defining games, well, as you'd expect, looks better than ever. And these games are, in my opinion, what put superhero games back on the map. They stopped them being considered as licensed cash grabs and actually made them good, thorough games that stood proudly in their own right as what they were. Awesome adventures where you got to be, in this case, the Caped Crusader. Revisit Batman Arkham Asylum, which started the series. Then go to Arkham City, still regarded by many as one of the greatest superhero games of all time. And now is the perfect time to revisit them, as, let's face it, Gotham Knights was vanilla at best, and we've all heard enough about Suicide Squad. So let's go back to when the games were good. These games even include all the DLC, so there's a reason to replay them right there. Another great from the 7th gen, remastered to look better than ever, is Dishonored. Universally praised for not just its story, but its gameplay and even the steampunk aesthetic. It all works beautifully. The game is set in open zones, and emphasis is placed on you having choice, how you approach the missions. Do you go stealth? Do you go all guns and knives blazing? It's up to you. Supernatural abilities, a variety of weapons, an incredibly deep story. It's all absolutely fantastic. I really can't do this game justice with a quick pitch in a list, so I do have an upcoming video about it. Look out for it, maybe even press subscribe. Your choice, of course. Now, as much as I like a deep game that's very immersive, sometimes I just want to shoot the shit out of something. And this game gives you the absolute best opportunity. It is Bulletstorm, a game where you get skill points for more imaginative kills. Yes, that's what we're looking at. It is non-stop FPS action. There is a story, it's not deep, it's not even worth mentioning really, because it's all about the gameplay. You just get set in this beautiful futuristic world and you get to shoot absolutely everybody and everything. You can unlock a variety of weapons, and it is just non-stop fun. Oh, and don't forget the big boot, that tends to do the trick for most things. I do like this game. It's unlikely we shall ever get a sequel, unfortunately, due to the fact it didn't sell well, so enjoy it for what it is. It's just mindless fun, and isn't that sometimes what we all need? Thank you very much for watching part 3 of this list. I'll put parts 1 and 2 up on the screen if you're interested, and if you'd like to help me out, a like or subscribe would do wonders. I'll see you soon.